Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. So this is the real truth about high-end headphones. This doesn't just apply to headphones, but all hi-fi gear in general. I saw this guy who made a YouTube video, who I totally respect, who reviews hi-fi gear. I won't mention his name or channel, because there's no reason for doing that. The motive for doing this is telling you what the industry wants you to think, which is partly true and partly not true. So this is what I wrote on that guy's video some months ago, and I just want to explain why he's right about the things that he says in that video, which is basically that you can't get everything in a headphone. You have to go with a certain type, certain priority, depending on who you are as a person. And I just don't quite agree with that philosophy. So I just want to explain and say that why he's right. So he and the biggest part of society, I would say, has this vision of the hi-fi world where you adjust to the environment and then you take what you can get. So you get this type of sound depending on what priority, type of person you are, meaning that ultimately it's about, a hunt for good value gear. And then you probably change that like every 3, 5, 10 years, something like that. And I think that that's partly a true story if you have that simple approach that you just buy a product like a headphone, put it with a standard headphone amplifier, and then you then get pretty much this sort of reality. But what I'm proposing here is what I've written in this thing here that you can read by yourself, is that I think that if you really want to win in the hi-fi world, you need to develop this mentality that I'm talking about here in step 2, that you don't have this worker-employee attitude, but instead you kind of flip that reality, so you get more this entrepreneur employer type of attitude who actually owns a business, meaning directly that you don't play the game so it plays you, which wastes money for you, the customer, and the company over a long period of time. You create a game within the game, so you fully control your sound. And the solution that I have proposed for this specific example is in this text here, where I basically write that most headphone amplifiers are bad, and you generally need to come up with something that is, a real amplifier for a speaker, and then turn it into a headphone amplifier, and then modify that cable on certain higher class headphones. Then you can actually get both parts of the coin. I've heard it a couple of times. It takes time, it takes a bit of extra money, but ultimately over a longer period of time you will get more involved with your sound. It will mean more for you, meaning that you will keep the product for a longer time, and you will also have invested in products that companies earn more money on, meaning that you will win and the entire industry will win, instead of us all just buying cheap China products and quickly changing out gear as if it's shoes or whatever, stuff, toilet paper, whatever. And I just want to explain here, yeah, that's just my computer freaking out with the temperature, just ignore that. I just want to explain that this is like the big lie of the hi-fi world that I see, is that if I feel that if more setups in the world were set up in a better way with a proper match, we would have a better sound that went deeper into the sound instead of wider. I've said this before many, many times on my channel, which would get a lot more people addicted to listening to music because it just means a lot more. Right now, music kind of gets treated a bit like, discarded rubbish, a bit like that. I wouldn't say entirely like that, but it gets a bit like that because we're used to stuff like, an iPhone, an iPad, what do you call it? All of these cheap, convenient services, and it's kind of making the industry as a whole in the audio world. It makes it cheap. It makes the whole experience cheap. So, and I feel that the whole market keeps up just producing more and more models, and it just, it's a bit like peeing in your pants to stay warm. That's fine. That's going to work for a short amount of time, but it just doesn't for a longer period of time. It's just not a proper solution, and I feel that I've said this before. If we could all just have like 1 to 4 setups through our entire life, we would get away from this mentality where we don't just lease products and borrow money and live in an apartment, and this sort of mentality where you just like you're just what do you call it, scanning through products, quickly trying stuff. This is fun, that's fun. You would get more like I said before, you would get more deep into the sound. It would mean more for you. You suddenly you wouldn't spend like a third of your life going out in town and trying all kinds of stuff that isn't really something that makes you happy. You would just feel more at home, more fulfilled as a person, and you would also feel like you're supporting the people locally in your own country, and just like everything generally is better because everything just is a higher quality of life. So it's a bit like this shoe analogy, that I've painted here, that we're kind of, it's a lot like that, where nowadays with shoes, they're just basically plastic. The average shoe that a person has on is basically sweatshop shoes from somewhere in Asia, overpriced. They stink way too much. You just don't get a proper amount of value, but it's been accepted that that's the standard, it's because it's comfortable. It's kind of fit into this whole corporate way of sponsoring NBA and other sports, and that's fine on some levels, but again, the quality has gone away. We're collecting plastic now instead of real shoes that people made with their hands locally in the country where you and me live. We just kind of like sold out in a way, and that's what I'm trying to say, that we just need to do things like we used to do previously in the past. And I'm not saying that goes with everything in life. I'm just saying that there are some few things where we actually need to go back in time and do those things properly. Not just go back to a worse standard, but take some of that good stuff from the past, bring it up to the current time that we're in, and then expand on that good style, that good way of living. I feel that we need to do that with the whole hi-fi area, and I just feel that it's sad that gear is constantly being put in this condition where you just taste sound, and you're either reviewing it or trying something in the store that just like is 10% of that sound, and you're never really gonna know what it is that you bought, and because of that you just feel like a sort of emptiness because it doesn't fulfill you fully. So you just end up going over to some other gear that, again, where you only hear perhaps 10% of that sound. So I just want people to be happy, so that whatever we buy, not just audio products, we just feel more at ease, fulfilled, that we're getting all of that product instead of this sort of flashy, fake, quickly released product type of sound, and then we're quickly discarding that sound and changing it out with something else. I also feel that this is a very important part of this video here, that companies are just selling out more and more. And I feel that if we could reduce the amount of models that we have, and I feel that not only us as customers, but the companies as a whole would also, over a longer period of time, have a better business model, that it would give them more money over a longer period of time, and not this temporary money where they actually don't really get the money that they're getting in, because it's quickly being put back into the business so they can produce cheaper models, so we all can buy other products that are equally as bad. And I feel that this is a good example where I saw Bentley cars putting their logo on Focal headphones, and I would say that's one of the better examples of if you absolutely have to do that, then do it in that way. But then when you I just feel that it's a bit, it kind of lessens the brand, Bentley, and it also kind of lessens Focal as a brand, where you keep on getting like a new model every third month. Or a good example is Ferrari. Ferrari, you can basically get towels, t-shirts, sunglasses, and it kind of removes the whole exclusivity of the brand, because Ferrari makes exclusive sport cars, and it seems almost as if they just have to get that money in, no matter how they're going to get that money in, and that's what I feel. That's what I'm trying to paint the picture here, is that I prefer, and I might be a bit special, I might not be like you watching this video or some other people, but I feel that when I look at a company like Spectral or Abyss Sound that only sell like a handful of products, I feel that makes the brand more special, more exclusive, more loyal to their customers. Where when you're constantly expanding, and there are a lot of companies that are expanding their models and making better things just for a wider set of customers, so I'm not going to say that that's completely bad. I just feel that when every single company basically is doing this, it feels like we're creating too much gear compared to the amount of audiophiles. So let's just say that we have 10 million audiophiles, and I don't know, around year 2000 we probably only had, in the history of mankind, let's just say 10,000 products all in all. Nowadays it just feels like we're up to products that are I don't know, 500,000 products all in all. I'm just guessing, and it just feels it's just frustrating, it just feels like no matter what you buy, it's just not gonna be worth as much compared to when you bought audio gear back in the year 2000 or 1990 or 1980 or whatever. I know I'm generalizing a bit, but I just feel that there are just too many products on the market. I know there's one brand that's selling audio gear. They're up to a couple of hundred products just for that one brand. I'm not going to mention what brand it is. And even some of the more exclusive brands, they're also, many of them, they're up to around 100, maybe 200 products, some of them, and it just feels like why would you do this? It like Peter Quartorp said in the video before, it creates a supermarket mentality so that you're basically making everything less worth, and I just want to see that everybody becomes happy with their equipment. So if they want to do that, that's fine by me. The only mission is for me to make people more happy, and I just feel that if we could get away from this business model of where everything is judged in that company from the perspective of, does this make us money? Do we get new customers doing this? What are the statistics? Okay, we're selling 500 units this month. Next month we have to sell more. And that's the mentality I want to get away from, because I also felt in the companies where I worked that everything you did was never enough, because it's this American capitalistic mentality where it's us against them. So if you one month sell 500 units, next month you have to sell 510 units, and it just has to keep on going in that direction. And I feel that sometimes for things to get better, we perhaps have to just keep on selling the same amount of gear, or perhaps go in the opposite direction where we're selling less gear, but we are removing a lot of these middle models that cheapen the brand. Like, for example, selling keychain, whatever, merchandise or t-shirts or whatever. I'm just bringing random examples up. I feel that if we can create this sort of, I wouldn't call it illusion, but agreement that we're not going to sell out. We're going to stay loyal to our customers. We're going to do it in this way. And yeah, it might not look pretty, but we're not going to sell out. We will primarily focus on the quality of the product. Yeah, there might be errors on the homepage. There might be some stuff that doesn't look right. And that's what I totally, that's what I totally respect with AudioNote, I pointed out stuff on his homepage to Peter Quartorp, and he told me that, yeah, I was right. But you could feel the vibration from Peter Quartorp that what's mostly important is that the customers get high quality products, and then we keep on getting better and better and better. Not that we expand and lose the quality and introduce more products that cheapen the brand. I really got that that vibe from Peter Quartorp, and I'm so happy that he's able to do this. I just wish that more companies would follow his example of just staying true to that brand. There are some few brands where, I'm not going to mention them, where I feel that they've sold out. That original sound that they had in the olden days, they don't have it anymore. It's too much about the structure. It's too much about the squeaky clean detail, the separateness, getting a big soundstage, and you're kind of losing this homey, down to earth, more simple, fleshed out sound, and I want it back. I feel that there is some of those brands out there that have lost it a bit, and I would say that some brands have lost it to a small degree, and others have lost it to like a huge degree, where it doesn't sound like the same brand anymore, and sometimes it doesn't sound like the same brand, and it actually gets better. Fine, I take my hat off for those people that own those companies that do that. I just feel that we should stay true to the original sound of that brand, and expand on those good qualities. And yeah, that's basically the message of this video, promoting higher quality, making companies produce less gear but still earning more, but not putting the customer in a situation where, okay, they're having to use more money on hi-fi. It might look like that, but it is possible to make both the companies more money, the guys in between the audio companies and the customer, the stores and all of these people that deliver the products or whatever they're called, importers, exporters, whatever, and the customers. It's possible to make everybody win in this situation, and I feel that we will all be winning in this game if we just stay true to ourselves, and I find I have a huge amount of respect for the American spirit of I wouldn't call it patriotic spirit, but this sort of respect for older gear that was good in the olden days, and they listen to that, and then perhaps it gets a bit noisy or doesn't work or whatever, and then you take it down to your local store, audio store, and he either repairs it or restores it so it possibly sounds either the same from compared to when it was new, or perhaps even better. I feel that when you do that, that's a win for everybody in the industry, and that's a nice thing to have. I feel that in my country, especially because it's in Scandinavia, and we're very much on this modern vibe, even though we don't own as much as Americans. I feel that we don't do this enough in Scandinavia and other countries. I feel that we don't have enough respect for the good stuff from the past, that vintage gear. That's primarily what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, we're in a new era, we're just going to change out to like the cheapest, newest stuff, and then that's that. It's so popular, Scandinavia, having almost no possessions, minimalistic houses, apartments, and then you have this either cheap gear or half cheap gear that's like pretend hi-fi, and then that's that's what they call music, And I feel that like Americans and Canadians and people in Britain and of course also some other countries that I don't know that well, I feel that they have more of a ingrained sense of loyalty to what's really good, and kind of paying respect for the past, and still preserving that and keeping that close, not letting go of it. And I just want to applaud those countries for doing that. I have a huge amount of respect for that. So yeah, if you support this message, I think that you should like this video, simply so we can get this message out to people, because what's happening in the hi-fi world is that we're also like you can see on my channel, we're all producing more and more videos constantly, and it's putting more emphasis on the cheap value stuff that is the newest thing, and we're kind of forgetting the good stuff from the past. Also the new stuff that is relevant but perhaps a bit more expensive. So I hope this message gets out to several thousands of people, and yeah, like this video so other people also can get this message. So that's me logging off. Have a nice day. Bye.